working on our sleigh. This is going to be part number 2. I lost some footage, I apologize, of us putting the floor on, or me putting the floor on. But basically there's a 2x2 strip running this way and a 2x2 strip running this way that lays on top of the steel, one across the middle. And then between the middle one and this end there's one, and between the middle and that end there's one, just all 2x2 treated lumber. And then these are decking boards. To make it fit, I had a little scrap of decking board, so I used that, and I cut one down to fit in here because one just wasn't quite enough. And if you cut just a sliver of one, I didn't think that was going to work out. So I just cut one down, and I did round the corner so it kind of matches. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to be measuring for the sides. I already have the ends. I saved those from the original part, and we may have to adapt them a little bit, but I think they'll work out. We're going to cut the sides, and we're going to draw in. There's a big cutout here where you step in it. So we're going to get our old pieces and make us a pattern for that. And so we're going to get that done. Cut this with a handsaw. No particular reason other than these boards are 16 footers and it's difficult for me to cut them in here with all this other stuff right now. So I'm just going to cut it off with a handsaw. Good practice. That on top, and that will be our side. We'll end up putting us another little strip up here to make our seat the right height. Right this second it would be mighty low. It's about 11 inches here, so we're probably going to go up another 3 inches, 14 inches, and then the seat thickness give you about 16 or 17 inch seat. But we'll do this same trick on the other side. There we go. Now we got it where it should stay. But that's basically our sides. So there's our sides. And the way they had this originally, they had holes here and they drilled through and put carriage bolts through. If you're actually going to make this thing move, drag it with a horse or four-wheeler tractor or whatever, that's probably a good plan, and that's probably what we're going to do to put it back, because I'm not sure how this thing will be used in the future. Alright, so there's our rough box. And what we'll do is we'll put some strips along in here to make this knot go like this, not to do a curvy thing. And you can put those on the inside or the outside. The way this was originally built, it had them on the outside, kind of added a little bit of interest. It had a little board here on this corner, added a little interest. Had a big scallop cut out here, so we're going to go and get our old piece and we're going to make us a scallop. Alright, we just got done putting a couple of screws in this. This is going to hold our piece up while we get a clamp on it. And we're going this thing where we think it should be. Approximately. And then we'll stick our clamp on it. That way we can check it really good. I'm about a 1/4 inch off there and approximately the same there. Hard to judge it because we got a stop up in here, but I'm not going to take all this apart just for this. And we're going to put another clamp on this thing so we squeeze it over tight so we can draw our little design here. This is our original piece, so that's going to make it look exactly like it did before. So that's the plan. We're going to have to add this little bitty piece here, and they have it on with bolts, which is probably a good idea again. We'll add this little piece, and this gets our seat up to where it was the right height. Together. Once we cut this apart, it's going to want to fall apart. So I'm going to use my square, stick these on squarely as I can. Can't shoot it there, I need it to come out. Can't square it from the bottom, but we have to be the best. Square it from the bottom. Now we'll come back later and we'll drill holes through this and put carriage bolts in this. And before we paint it, of course. But this will just hold it together because I'd like to take this side out and cut our groove here with our jigsaw. Got this side cut, did pretty good. Got a little bit of sanding to do right here on these two transitions. This one did very well. Of course, you cut in the right direction on that one. And we'll put the bolts in here across on these and bolt this to the bottom, actually to the final piece, and we'll start working on our side, on our seat once we get our bolts through. All right, we got our bolts in. I hadn't cut them off yet. I'm still figuring if I like that or not, but we'll get them tightened up and cut off. But we've let it dry a day or two, and so this wood is a lot drier than it was initially. And so we're going to sand it up where the jigsaw tore it up and round the corners over. So you need a belt sander for that. Sandpaper here, and we worked on some of the sharp edges. If this is going to be a Santa Claus sleigh, this is where the children will enter. I certainly don't want to get hung on anything. This is a little bit floppy here, so we're going to probably drill a hole in this and peg this down. Put a little glue on it, and maybe over here too. This one's not near as bad. But both of these are a little bit flimsy, and so that's what we're going to do. That looks pretty good. And now we're going to put our bigger drill bit in. The smaller drill bit, it's much easier to find the center and kind of give yourself a little bit of room there in case it's not exactly right. So this dowel is a smidge too tight to drive in there without busting this wide open. So I'm going to show you a little trick on that. We're going to guess how much we're going to need. We have our drill bit, or our drill here, and we're going to use it. And we've got to put it in the drill bit. Put your dowel in there as if it was a drill bit. Get your piece of sandpaper. And you want to do this a little at a time because this is going to This can work fast, so you can get it too small, so you're going to do a little at a time. And probably a little bit more. Bond too. They're not paying me or anything, but that's what I use. That seems to do well. I'll put a little glue on our dowel. And to be honest, glue is probably not a necessity with this particular thing, in that it is, this wood here is green, the boards are green and the dowel is dry, so over time the boards are going to dry, and shrink up, so that would hold that now most likely, but I did put glue on it. It's been a little while. We're gonna cut these off. We're just gonna use a little coping saw, and I'm gonna cut them off a little proud. So we're gonna our coping saw, we can, you don't see that now, but the blade is at an angle, and so that allows us to use it and not hopefully cut into the good wood. We'll just hit that with our sander again, you'll never see it. Alright, we got our seat. Working on our seat. We've got our two boards. We've ripped off the round edge on two of the boards, drilled one dowel hole in the middle here, put a dowel in it, so these two boards are now, they're not glued yet, but they're together. We ripped an angle off this board. This is going to be the back, and then this angle here is the same angle that this is off here. We made it match. I don't know what the angle is. I'm guessing about 15 degrees or thereabouts. And we're having to make a decision whether we want this board here to fit here on the outside or fit here coming this way. And I think the original was on the outside, and that when you lean back it was helping hold you back from pushing off. If you do it this way, then your back's got very much leverage to push away. We're gonna work on that. The way I copied this angle was using the sliding T-bevel here, and we just made it match that angle, and then we turned it and matched that angle, and then cut it. Keep on whittling on the seat. I got to go run another board with this angle on the bottom here so that it will flay out at on the sides, on each side. I'm concentrating on getting this flat to this surface. This is the cleanest surface I have. So this is the brand new toolboxes I just picked up. I'm going to try to get it flat to that and at the right correct angle to the back. Get our fingers out the way. I let it run along on the back slightly. I'm going to sand that down. It was cut pretty close to the angle, but not exact, so I'll just sand it down to what it needed to be. It's called a nail gun for a reason. You got to aim it, particularly when you're doing all these angles. You want to aim it so it's not going to come out of the board. Hopefully. this up. And our seat arms are kind of splayed in a smidge. I'm not quite sure why. When we nail them on, we'll flop them back a little bit. About there. Center. I'm just pre-drilling and then I'm going to use a countersink, which is just a little, it looks like a starboard point in the middle of it. Makes a little here, we've got a sharp corner. I'm just going to take a big old file. This is not too rough a file. And I'm just knocking the sharp edge off of that. I can control it a little better with a file than I can that big sander. And I certainly can get closer to the file. Right the front of it in there. Tight. In there tight. refurbished our sleigh here. Here comes the dog. Right on cue. What you want, dog? What you want, dog? Hope y'all enjoy this video. We took this sleigh from being just about rotted down to the ground. Only the parts were left were the steel parts, and everything you see here is brand new, with the exception of these two boards that make them the front, that make the back. We've taken care of making everything back pretty much original as the way it was, and so it's refurbished and ready to go. Hope y'all enjoy this video. If you have, please subscribe and like. If you have any comments, love to hear them. If you'd like to take a class here at the Virginia School of Traditional Arts, our contact information will be below in the description. We offer classes in blacksmithing, leatherwork, cast iron cooking. We can do woodworking classes, wood turning classes. Thank you. Have a nice day.